This video explains how to pump a hydrofoil to keep it moving. This is filmed while wing foiling, but the technique applies to any kind of foiling. First, we'll explain the movement, then look at the physics of how it all works. Firstly, you push down hard on the back foot for lift, and also extend your body upwards energetically. You extend your back, and raise your arms to get your weight climbing. The next step is to immediately swap from extending to contracting. Lower your arms, crunch your stomach, and raise your knees. This takes your weight off the board and the foil should climb easily. Your weight soon drops back on the board, of course. As your weight drops on the board, it must drop on the front foot. Extend the front leg a bit and pitch down the foil. Pitching down the foil as you descend will gain speed. The cycle then starts over again. Push off the back leg and extend your weight upwards. Contract, taking weight off both legs. Drop on the front foot to accelerate. Back foot pump and extend. Contract, drop on the front foot. Back foot pump and extend. Contract, drop on the front foot. Back foot pump and extend. Contract, drop on the front foot. You can see there are three basic stages here. The heavy lifting stage, where you extend off the back foot. The foil climb stage, where you contract, taking your weight off the board. And the drop and accelerate stage, where you push down on the front foot as your weight returns to the board. Let's review that riding right foot forward. Push off the back foot and extend. Contract. Drop on the front foot. Push off the back foot and extend. Contract. Drop on the front foot. If you do this well, you can keep foiling until you run out of energy or hit a sandbank. Understanding what's happening at each of these stages is fascinating, plus that understanding can help you refine your technique. The heavy lifting stage, where you pump hard on the back foot and extend upwards like a jump, provides the lift that stops you dropping into the water and even gets your mass climbing. Because your mass is accelerated upwards during this stage, the foil's lift has to be a lot more than your own weight. Of course, pumping the back foot pitches up the foil for more angle of attack, increasing the force on the front wing. This is a fundamental of foil control. But there are other reasons the foil is capable of providing extra lift at this stage. The primary reason is increased speed. The foil has just gained speed from dropping while pitched down. Plus, the large pump of the back foot briefly sweeps the foil forwards, so it's moving through the water even faster. A little extra speed makes a big difference. The front wing's lift increases in proportion to its speed through the water squared. So, for example, just over 41% more speed through the water can double the lift of the front wing. Additionally, the moment when you're being lifted most conveniently happens when the foil is at its deepest point. Deeper water has more static water pressure, and the force on your foil is proportional to the water pressure. At half a meter deep, there is about 5% more water pressure than at the surface. So at this key heavy lifting stage, we have extra angle of attack extra water speed and extra water pressure. The next stage is all about getting the foil to climb without losing much speed. Normally, if you simply pitch up a foil and climb without propulsion, then you would lose speed as you climb. You trade your speed for height. Good pumping technique, however, gets the foil to climb without losing as much speed. If we look at the pressure each foot applies to the board, you can see that when you quickly switch from extending upwards to contracting and raising your legs, you can take all of your weight off the board for a moment. This doesn't last long, of course, but it means the foil only has to raise itself and the board and not the rider. The front wing's temporarily lifting about 9 kilograms instead of 95 kilograms. This allows the foil to pop up quickly. Furthermore, this removal of weight happens exactly after the foil has been pitched up. Pitching up the foil aligns the front wing's chord with its ascending path. This gives a low angle of attack so the foil can climb without much drag to slow it down. Hopefully you can now see how important it is that after jumping up, you must contract and raise your legs to take your weight off the board. It should feel like you're pulling the board up with your feet. If we look closely, you see the rider's feet starting to lift off the board. You can't keep your weight off the board for long, of course. Once you finish contracting, your full weight will return to the board. As mentioned, your weight must be applied to the front foot when this happens. That is because if you push down on a foil that is pitched down, it accelerates forwards. Pitching down a descending foil tilts its hydrodynamic force forwards. Tilting this force forwards helps us speed up. If we split the force into vertical and horizontal components, you can clearly see that pitching down increases the forwards component or thrust. If we pitch down less as the foil descends, there would be less thrust. You would regain less speed. So pitching down the foil enough as your weight drops back onto it is pretty important. In summary, make sure your extension is energetic and ends in the foil pitched up. Make sure you switch immediately from extension to contraction to get your weight off the board nicely. And make sure when your weight returns onto the board, it's applied to the front foot. What I find really impressive about foil pumping is that each stage has its own purpose and also perfectly sets up the next stage. The drop and accelerate stage ends with more speed, making the heavy lifting stage work better. The heavy lifting stage ends with your mass climbing, which helps you unweight the board for longer and makes the low loss climb stage work better. The low loss climb stage ends with the foil higher, enabling the drop and accelerate stage, and so on. There is a beautiful synergy to how the stages work together. This diagram of foot pressure might not seem too difficult to follow, but this has been slowed down by a factor of 10. If we play this at full speed, you can see there is a huge amount happening in very little time. So when you first practice this movement, try it on land to develop some muscle memory. Then, when foiling, try the pumping movement while you still have some other form of propulsion to help. This will allow you to start practicing the movement without losing speed. If you're a wing foiler, here are a couple more tips to bear in mind. You can pump the foil to gain speed while holding the handles or boom of your hand wing. This can be particularly helpful in gusty conditions. If the wind lulls or disappears, then you can pump the hydrofoil to keep moving. You may be able to keep your foiling speed until the wind comes back. Pumping while holding the wing by its neutral handle is a useful skill that will prepare you for catching waves. You'll need to practice your wing handling so you can smoothly swap between the strut handles and the neutral handle. When holding a wing, it can help to foil either crosswind or slightly downwind. If you aim too far upwind, you create a lot more apparent wind and you'll feel extra drag on the hand wing. If you aim too far downwind, then you can lose apparent wind and your hand wing might drop into your board. Good luck learning to pump your hydrofoil. If you have any questions, experiences or tips, please share them in the comments section.